Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now there is a few trigger warnings on this one of a failed pregnancy, possible grooming, homophobia, bigoted language and misogyny as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. This one's from Apprehensive Cry 5231 and it says, "Am I the asshole for calling my sister a dumb bee after she chastised my sister-in-law for how she gave birth? I was at my mum's house for dinner and me, my older siblings and my sister-in-law were in the living room talking while my mum got dinner ready. Our relationship with my siblings is pretty bad due to some background familial issues and the fact that we just don't have personalities that mesh, but we're able to stay mostly civil for my mother. My sister is one of those hyper-religious people that doesn't believe in Western medicine and wants everything natural. My sister-in-law recently got out of the hospital after being there for an extensive period of time, following a really messy labor. From what I know, she went into labor prematurely and had to get an emergency C-section as her and the baby's lives were at risk. It was a tough period of time for her and my brother. We were talking about how they have been progressing since they got out, and sister-in-law shared how hard it's been having to bounce back from that traumatic experience to take care of her son. My sister turned to my brother and said, 'Had to take the easier route and she still complains,' and laughed. My sister-in-law asked what she meant. My sister proceeded to go on a tirade about how she kept trying to help her throughout her pregnancy, and she didn't listen, and that's why things turned out the way they did, and she took the shortcut and has the audacity to complain. My sister-in-law tried to explain that the doctors told her what would be best for her during her pregnancy because of issues she was already having, and that her delivery was the best course of action. My sister would not let up and was gradually getting more insulting, ignoring me telling her to knock it off. My sister-in-law ended up crying and I was pissed. I turned to my sister-in-law and said, 'So are you going to take the advice of trained medical professionals or one dumb bitch who couldn't get through high school?' My sister lost her mind and started yelling at me, to which I just repeated, 'Get a job,' over and over again, which made her angrier till she was crying and hurling insults at me. My brother and sister-in-law ended up leaving and my mum came and intervened, telling my sister to calm down and me to leave. Since then I had a heated phone call with my brother because he believes that I should have just kept my mouth shut and let women handle their business. My dad, my parents are divorced, left me multiple texts grilling me and calling me a disgrace and whatnot because my sister went crying to him. And my mum texted me saying that she thinks my sister was a bit harsh, but that I was way out of line and I need to apologize to her. My sister-in-law texted me and said that she's sorry she caused this situation and she appreciates me speaking up, but I didn't have to, and that's what's making me feel awful. I'm in a bad state with my family. I always have been, and I'm fine with that, but I don't want to put her in a bad position with them too when she's done nothing wrong. Am I the arsehole for insulting my sister after she insulted my sister-in-law?" Edit posted a recent, very peaceful text conversation with my brother, which we'll get to in a moment, but the top commenter on this one, no presentation, says, "So your brother, who should have stood up for his wife, is mad at you for doing so. He has now pressured his own wife into telling you you shouldn't have done so. Does this mean he also believes the same thing your sister does? I'm just glad your sister-in-law saw at least one person stand up for her in that debacle. Unfortunately, she has a husband problem and you have a family problem. I'll just ignore the rest of your family and make sure your sister-in-law knows she deserves someone standing up for her and didn't do anything wrong. She didn't cause your sister to be an arsehole. Seems she was born that way, considering how the rest of your family are. Not the arsehole." Hope he replies saying, "My brother's always been really non-confrontational and I keep the peace type of guy, so I wasn't surprised that he didn't say anything. Just that he didn't even try to take my sister-in-law and leave. I'm also not surprised by him being mad at me on the flip. I am overly confrontational, which he has always hated." Poppy Marshmallow says, "Definitely not the arsehole. Someone needed to put her in her place. Seems like your family is too comfortable doling out abuse and not being called out on it. I'd go low contact with them all for my peace of mind. Opie says I'm already low contact. My only connection to them is through my mum, who I have a decent relationship with. I think the text my dad sent is the first bit of contact we've had in like a year. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. Your bro is the arsehole for not standing up for his wife. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a divorce in the near future. Your whole family is a mess. Why are they backing her up so much? Opie says, well, my dad is just pretty blatantly doesn't like me, so that's probably why. My mum just doesn't like problems in the family, and I'm pretty sure she wants me to apologize so my sister will shut up. My sister lives with her. My brother is the one I don't understand. He's always been non-confrontational, but in this case, his wife was being insulted. I think he'd at least remove her from the situation, but I mean, he also doesn't like me, so that might be why he got mad. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation for me. This guy, the brother, sat there while his wife, in the same room, sat there crying while she's being mocked for a life-threatening birth. Then he turns around and has the nerve to lecture you about women's business. Cheeky bastard. And like the commenters were pointing out, this whole family seems like a mess. Sister-in-law is married to someone who's not going to defend her and is surrounded by the whole family who seems to think that emergency C-sections are shortcuts. And quite simply, you didn't cause this situation, your sister did with her shitty comments. But the text exchange that OP mentioned said it started with a brother saying, sister's name has been trying to help us out through our entire pregnancy and has been there for us when you were nowhere to be seen, so don't act like you're some good guy. She stuck by us even when sister-in-law's name was being horrible to her, which by the way she apologized for, something you're probably not familiar with. We all know how sister's name is including sister-in-law. She was just emotional that night and so it got to her, but she could handle it because she's a grown woman. Instead of just letting them have their conversation, you had to butt in so you can antagonize her. Like you always do. You just can't stand that she actually helps the family, unlike you who just bring us down. OP quotes antagonize sister's name and then says, give me a fucking break. The fucking clown flies off the handle every chance she gets when someone disagrees with her. You let a woman who thinks pouring coffee up your ass will detox your body dictate your wife's pregnancy, when your wife literally tells you she doesn't like that. Does that not worry you? Like, do you agree with her or are you too much of a fucking pansy to tell her to fuck off? What kind of chicken shit husband lets her sister bully his own wife? Also funny how you're complaining about me not being around to help you all, when you word for word said to me, I don't want your disgusting gay shit infecting my kid. Hell, I thought I was just honoring your wishes. Brother replied saying, you're acting like sister's name is a nutcase when she just has differing viewpoints from you. You're such a fucking child, you can't stand that people think differently from you. You've become a psycho lib and want to push that onto everyone else. OP says pointing out factual medical science is being a psycho lib. Holy shit, you're gonna get that kid killed. Your wife has enough sense to try and keep herself and your son, who you should be protecting, safe with what doctors recommended instead of listening to psychobabble about letting toxins into her body. Brother replies again saying, this is all you do is try to tear down the family instead of helping us because you want to act like you're better than us. Poor little baby, someone was mean to him once, so now he has to ruin everything for the rest of us. If mum wasn't trying so hard to keep you around, no one would want anything to do with you. We can talk when you apologize to sister's name and sister-in-law's name for getting into their business and being an arsehole. Trying to make me seem like I don't care of my wife when you sit there and just make your sister cry. Fuck off. OP said one more time saying, trust, if mum wasn't trying so hard to keep us all together, I'd love to be done with the rest of you. That's all you know how to do is be dad or sister's name little fucking purse dog and do what they say. Only thing is, you wrote this poor lady and the kid to suffer because you can't think for yourself. Hopefully she wises up before you fuck up that kid. So sensitive to that woman child throwing a tantrum, but not to your wife being chastised. Ridiculous. So there was a couple of updates to this one. The first one came in the form of another post, which was titled, my brother has convinced my mum that I, an openly gay man, am trying to steal his wife. What do I do? Looking for any kind of advice on what I can do or if I should just completely cut my losses with my shit show of a family. My brother, 32 male, has successfully convinced my family that I, 24 male, am in love with my sister-in-law, 24 female, and I'm trying to manipulate her against him so I can steal her away. My brother and sister-in-law have been married for 4 years. This apparently all came about because a couple of months ago, her and my sister, 34 female, had a big blow up about my sister-in-law's pregnancy, and I defended my sister-in-law against my sister's big tirade. Following that night, I received a lot of scrutiny from family, particularly my brother, for interfering in women's business, and I said some not so nice things to him. My sister-in-law also reached out to me and apologized to me for causing the situation, and I let her know she had nothing to apologize for, and I'm here to help both her and my nephew. We ended up having a pretty in-depth conversation about how my sister has treated her in the past. Apparently, my sister moved in with her and my brother for a brief period to help with my sister-in-law's first pregnancy, and was really overbearing and constantly ridiculing her choices for the sake of the baby. My sister-in-law unfortunately suffered from what sounded like an ectopic pregnancy, and had to have an emergency surgery to have the fetus removed. And my sister and my brother apparently think that's the same thing as aborting a baby, and she was blamed for the loss of the child. And from how she spoke, she also saw this as a failure on her part. It pissed me off, and I did my best to explain to her the medical reasonings of why what happened was necessary and not her fault, and that my brother and sister are just kind of stupid. She shouldn't feel bad for doing something necessary to save her life, especially because the fetus wasn't even viable. That was the last time she spoke, and I just let her know I'd be there if she needed anything. I guess either she told my brother or he found out from her messages about the conversation and took it as me flirting with his wife. I'll give him the fact that I did call him stupid in the messages, but come on. Thinking an emergency procedure for a life-threatening situation with your wife willfully terminating her pregnancy and making her feel bad about it is fucking stupid. Sorry. He told the rest of my family about how I'm envious and trying to take his wife, which they all believed and are now mad at me. This wouldn't be a big deal to me if my mum, 53 female, wasn't also included in that. My mum is the only one in my family I have a good relationship with, but apparently she believes my brother and has called me to scold me about betraying my brother and being shameless, along with my other family members. This is all frustrating, but here's the absolute best part about this. The reason I'm estranged from my family is because I'm gay. It is like the thing that fucked our family up. I've very openly been seeing another man for the past 3 years. My brother has also been open about not wanting me around his family because of my unnatural lifestyle. All that just to easily believe I'm in love with a woman. I guess the reason I come here is so that I can understand how this would be believable. I understand my dad and my sister believing this easily. They hate me and probably just want a reason to feel justified in rallying against me. But I can't really comprehend my mother believing it. But maybe I gave her too much credit. At the end of the day, I am very much the outlier of my family on all fronts. I also wonder if maybe my sister-in-law took what I was saying as me taking an interest in her. Maybe I made her uncomfortable, but the most I did was just explain medical things to her so she wouldn't feel bad about her first pregnancy. I don't know, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I've always been at peace with not having my family, especially because my family is full of nut jobs. But I think potentially having to accept my mum is also that way is making me second guess myself. I also don't like the idea that my sister-in-law is uncomfortable. Sorry for the long post, but has anyone been in a situation similar to this? Is my relationship with my mum salvageable? And can I get her to see that my brother is a mental case? There was just one comment with a bit of relevant information on the back of this one. Frock of Seagull says there's no way a 28-year-old man married a 20-year-old woman without abuse involved. Steal his girl and his kids, non-sexually, because they need your help. Opie replies saying, I don't know when they met, but I'm inclined to agree. The area I grew up in is very evangelical, fundamentalist, Christian heavy, and unfortunately, it's common to see age gaps like that. My mum and dad have a 12-year gap. My family are hardcore evangelicals, and to my understanding, my sister-in-law is also hyper-religious. So Opie comes in with another update and says, very long post, sorry. I don't know if anybody is still following me, but when I came back to this account, I've seen a significant number of messages asking me how I'm doing, if everything's alright, what happened to my siblings, what happened to my sister-in-law, etc. I just want to thank you to everyone being concerned for me. It's real nice, but I promise no matter how the situation turned out, well, not ordeal, I was going to be fine, as I've had a decade to get used to being ostracized from them and about 5 years building a new, much healthier, less insane life with a new family made of friends and my SO. I'm not completely alone like I was all those years ago, thankfully. I've had a lot of people guess about me and my family's background, and without getting too specific, I'll let you know I grew up in a very small fundamentalist Christian town in western Tennessee. My family is full of devout, ye-old ways, evangelical Christian nationalists, so it's not a surprise that they're not too psyched that I ended up a gay, progressive atheist who studies medicine. I was never going to be able to fit in with them once I came out and deconstructed from Christianity. And I think my clinging to my relationship with my mum was just wishful thinking because I thought she wasn't as awful as the rest of them. Let's get on to the real meat and potatoes though. Things were honestly really quiet after the whole OP, the slur, is actually super in love with my wife and trying to steal her from me shtick my brother was pulling happened because I just kind of gave up on trying with any of them because frankly, them believing that made me realize there is quite literally nothing I can do. Cut my losses, blocked them, kept on trucking on with my life. Last week though, as I was leaving class, who do I see waiting for me but my mother? Just for reference, I live about an hour and a half away from the rest of the family. At first I just kept on walking because I didn't really want to deal with that shit, but she stopped me and asked if we could talk. She didn't really look mad or anything, she just looked really worn out and sad. While I honestly wasn't feeling particularly sympathetic, I was curious, so I agreed. She asked if we could go back to my apartment. I said hell no, and took her to the park to sit. She tried to open up with small talk, but I just told her to get on with it. So apparently she came to let me know that my sister-in-law and nephew have gone missing. My brother is distraught over it, and they think I had something to do with it. Now, mind you, the last time I spoke to her was the night we had the conversation about her ectopic pregnancy. She didn't reach out ever again after that and randomly blocked me. Naturally, I'm ready to get up and leave because holy shit, you people cannot be fucking serious. But my mum is pleading to me that if I know where she is, I have to let her know because they're worried about my brother. Not her, my brother. You might be wondering why I put gone missing in quotations. Well, that's because of what my mother described as the lead up to her disappearance. Apparently, my sister-in-law's older brother came to visit her and my brother without warning. My sister-in-law actually hadn't had contact with him per my brother's request because the last time they saw each other was when my sister-in-law and brother got engaged, roughly 4 years ago. They ended up in an altercation and the dude beat the absolute dog shit out of my brother. I did know about this as my mum was in shambles for an entire week about it and the entire family was mad at sister-in-law for letting it happen. Common theme here. Point is, the dude fucking hates my brother and vice versa, so he wasn't happy about it, but they kept it civil. On the third day of his visit, my brother came back from work to an empty house. Sister-in-law, her brother, and the baby were nowhere to be found. Sister-in-law's brother's car was gone. My brother didn't think anything of it at first. All of sister-in-law's belongings were still there, including her phone, so he just assumed they went out to lunch or whatever, but after a couple of hours and there was still no sign of them. Another thing important to note, the guy apparently didn't bring anything with him when he came to stay with them, just him and his car. My brother ended up calling the police and filing a missing persons report the next day, and that's where they're at right now. Though from what my mum is telling me, the police are being weirdly lax about it. Hearing all of that, I feel like it's pretty natural to assume she flew the coop, kid in hand, with the assistance of her brother. My mum, however, is adamant that something happened to her, or that she's being influenced and is in danger, and no matter how hard I try to make her see the clues that sister-in-law probably left of her own accord, she just wouldn't accept it. She was crying about how my brother is so humiliated and crushed about it, and that I have some responsibility over my sister-in-law's disappearance and my brother's current state. At this point, this woman has devolved into borderline scream crying about how I ruined my family's life and reputation, while I sit there nodding along and going, oh yeah, Honestly, the pathetic sight of my mother babbling about how I'm to blame for my family's shortcomings actually helped me get rid of the last bit of affection I had towards her, so silver lining, I guess. The little psychotic break my mother was having was, call me insensitive, going on far too long, and I really have more important things to do. I said, okay, well, good luck with that. Gave her a hearty pat on the shoulder and walked back to my campus while she sat there crying. I know. Not the nicest thing to do, but there is literally nothing else I can do for these people. And honestly, I kinda just don't really have the capacity to feel bad for her anymore. It just kinda is what it is. My mum hasn't come back to my campus since then, and none of them know where I live, so it's whatever. However, I started getting a bunch of messages from a random number over the weekend following the interaction with my mother. This number I very easily recognized was our original foe, my lunatic sister, angrier and just as unemployed as ever. She basically parroted the same sentiment my mother gave, but in a much harsher and unfortunately funnier way, calling me a big pharma double slur-ridden slur who destroyed the family. Did in fact give me a little giggle. I won't lie, very godly, very loving thy neighbor of her. I muted it, but I didn't block it because the angry ramblings of a mentally deranged woman in her mid-30s can be pretty entertaining. Anyways, maybe the cops will eventually ask me questions about my sister-in-law, but I got just about as much of a clue as the rest of them, wherever she is. I hope both she and my nephew are safe. Glad someone was able to get her the hell out of this nightmare of a family, and maybe it'd be a better beginning for her. I have no idea how that'll work with custody arrangements though. Again, sorry for the long post. This account has basically become a lame diary, lol. So to anyone who actually sees this, and thanks for all the well wishes. I'm gonna eat a funny gummy and try to act like this shit never happened. And that was OP's latest update. A lot of people just commenting on the family and saying, whoa, what a wild situation that's turned out to be. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story is from the True Off My Chest subreddit. It was from a deleted user, so there was no update on it, but it was suggested by a couple of people from our own community. It said, my ex-wife predicted my future in painful details, and I can't sleep at night because of it. We are legally still married. We are both 45 and we've been together for 20 years. She was the love of my life, until I met my current girlfriend, and that's when I realized I have been stagnating for years. My new girlfriend, 30, was happy and exciting. She was wild and drove me crazy. I finally remembered how it was to feel alive with her, and she understood me. Never complained and never nagged, always positive. When my ex-wife found out, she laughed in my face and told me how disappointing I was. Leaving your wife of 20 years for a 20-something. How original. I told her it wasn't her age. She laughed even harder. Let me guess, because she cares about her looks, because she is so positive and adventurous. Then she said that when reality hits, don't come running back. When she stops blowing you in the most wild places, because she knows that she doesn't have to now. When she realizes that she wants more and asks for more. When your answer and actions aren't good enough for her. When she stays in bed, scrolling her phone all weekend. Because now she has you. She doesn't need to pretend to be oh so adventurous anymore. Remember that you haven't traded up. I didn't believe her, and she laughed at that too. She said, remember how our story started, the love and respect we had, and look at how it ended. How do you think this one that started by hurting the people closest to you will end? This was 9 months ago. Now, I haven't spoken with my girlfriend for 2 days. She moved in with me 3 months ago. I have never been this miserable. The fights and nagging, the scrolling on her phone day and night with zero effort or energy for any adventure, the demands and small fights about small things. I know that moving in together can be emotional and unstable, but I feel that I have no feelings for this woman. I have nothing to say to her. I don't even like her. I just keep thinking of my wife and how she knew all this. I pretend that everything is great when I'm with people. I act like I'm so in love, but I'm dying inside. She predicted everything, and I miss and I love her, and think about her every single day. And because I'm not a good person, I told my girlfriend this. I don't know why I felt the need to tell my girlfriend this. Maybe because she called my ex old and bitter. I told her I will never love her like I do my ex. That took her down on earth real quick. I'm sick of myself. Oh dearie me, I can see the first comment on this already talking about a cliche, and that's exactly it. Your wife wasn't predicting the future, she was just seeing Like this comment's going to say, I'll read the comment first. It says, your ex isn't a psychic, you're just a cliche. Anyone who knew the details of your situation could have told you exactly what your future held, and you would have seen it too, if you hadn't been so dick blind. And the commenter is 100% right. It is a cliche. He just jumped on that honeymoon period and was away with the fairies kind of thing. Commenter says, the grass is greener where you water it. I'm dying to know how your ex-wife is doing. Opie replied saying, my ex-wife watered it. I did nothing. It was all her. New says, Opie, if you want to become a better person, the first step is to break up with your mistress. This relationship will never be legitimate. It's tainted. First break up with her, then spend some time single and going to therapy, and really commit to being different than you were. And one more comment who first quotes that she predicted everything and then says, you don't trade in someone you love for a newer model like they're an object that needs replacing. You never loved her. She predicted what would happen because it is the exact same story over and over again for the type of men who do this. Shallow men who stop loving their wives over the realities of aging, despite the fact that it's happening to them too. You could have done something to fix the stagnation yourself, but you put all of that on your wife and decided that you were done when she didn't make your dick happy enough. You never loved her. And in the comments below this as well, the amount of people that were saying that this happened to them as well, like that their partners left them for someone younger and the exact same thing happened. Absolutely wild. You know, obviously it happens all the time, but it doesn't make it any less shocking for me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Simple case of fuck around and find out, I think. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, you are absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.